Welcome to the Liquor Knowledge module. Today, you'll get an overview of the different types of liquor, learn some terminology, get familiar with some popular brands, and learn about alcohol pricing tiers, all of which will help you be more knowledgeable and comfortable with selling cocktails. So let's get started. Before we get into the different types of liquor, it's important that you understand the differences between some of the main terms. So, first things first, liquor is a distilled alcoholic beverage, and it's made by distilling anything that's been fermented. Well, almost anything. If you don't know what fermentation or distillation is, this is probably going to sound like nonsense to you. So let's learn more. Fermentation is the process of turning the sugars in fruits, grains, hops, or other substances into alcohol. Here's how it works. You take the ingredient, you put it in a tank, you add a little yeast, and you let it sit. After time, the sugars in the yeast are going to produce the alcohol. This is also how beer, wine, and ciders are made. Distillation takes the process one step further after fermentation. Distillation turns fermented beverages into much stronger versions of themselves simply by separating the alcohol from the water. By removing the water, the alcohol in the liquid becomes much more concentrated. It's called hard liquor because that's what's left after distillation, is a beverage that's concentrated with more of the hard stuff, the alcohol. Now that you know what fermentation and distillation are, let's learn some other terms. Do you know the difference between spirits and liquor? Well, I'm going to make it really easy on you. Spirits and liquor are the same thing, and the terms can be used totally interchangeably. There are a few stories about how the name spirits came to be, and well, they're all quite interesting. You can Google it. But my favorite is the one that involves ghosts, and I think it's the most accurate. But what about the difference between liquor and liqueur? And what's a cordial then? Let's learn more. Liquor and liqueurs are the same in the fact that they both go through the distillation process. What makes liqueurs different is they've had some sort of sweetener added to them. They're also often flavored with various herbs, fruits, or spices, and they generally have a 15 to 30% ABV, which is alcohol by volume. What matters for a liqueur to be called a liqueur is it's been sweetened in some way. Otherwise, they're just flavored liquors. Some examples of common types of liqueurs you're likely to sell are Sambuca, Triple Sec, and Amaretto. So what's a cordial then? Nowadays, cordials are the same as liquors. Historically, there was a difference between a liqueur and a cordial. A liqueur was sweetened and flavored with fruits, while cordials were sweetened and flavored with herbs. But over time, those differences disappeared, and now these terms are used interchangeably. Well, since I mentioned ABV, let's learn what it means by watching a short video.
In this video, we're going to describe the math of what a standard drink is. In America, they often say that one beer is equal to one glass of wine, which is also equal to one shot of hard alcohol. But where did they come up with this equivalency between different types of alcohol? The reason is the definition of a standard drink is 0.6 fluid ounces of alcohol, and each of these drinks actually contains that amount of alcohol. We can verify this by looking at the alcohol percentage of each of the drinks, and we'll also write down the standard serving size of each of these drinks. When we multiply the alcohol percentage by the drink size, we find that each of these drinks contains the standard 0.6 fluid ounces of alcohol. So if you want to keep track of the number of drinks you're having in a night, you can follow this formula. The number of standard drinks will be equal to the volume times the alcohol percentage divided by 0.6. The numerator tells you how much alcohol is in your drink, and the denominator standardizes this to one drink equivalent. You can often find the alcohol percentage just by looking at the label and looking for the ABV, which is the alcohol by volume.
And that's ABV. So you can see it's important to be aware of the alcohol content in drinks. One, so you can serve responsibly, and two, you can drink responsibly if you're of age to consume. All right, next let's take a look at some alcohol types you're going to be serving. Here's a quick video that explains the various types.
There are 9 types of liquors commonly sold at bars, and they are vodka, rum, gin, tequila, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, cognac, and brandy. Vodka is traditionally made from potatoes, but these days it's more common to see vodka made from a variety of grains such as corn, rice, rye, or wheat. Because of vodka's lack of flavor, you can easily disguise its alcoholic taste in mixed drinks, and that makes it a common choice for people who, although like the effects of alcohol, don't particularly enjoy how it tastes. Rum. Rum is made from sugarcane. It is the sweetest liquor of the bunch, which makes it mix well with tropical or fruity type drinks such as pina coladas and strawberry daiquiris. Gin. Gin is made from juniper berries. It has a piney taste and is commonly mixed with tonic water. Cocktails that use gin include the Tom Collins and Classic Martini. Tequila. Tequila originates from Mexico and is made from the blue agave plant. Cocktails that use tequila are the tequila sunrise and margarita. Whiskey. Whiskey is made from a variety of grains such as barley, corn, rye, and wheat. It is aged in partially burned oak barrels which give it its distinct brown color and wood-like taste. It is commonly served as a shot, in a glass by itself or with ice, or mixed with Coke, ginger ale, or sour mix. Bourbon. Bourbon can be considered the premium version of whiskey, but with one essential requirement. In addition to other whiskey-making grains, it has to be made with 51% corn. Scotch. Scotch originates from Scotland and must be aged in oak barrels for at least 3 years. It is well known for its pronounced smoky flavor and is commonly enjoyed by experienced drinkers. Cognac and brandy. Cognac is simply the premium version of brandy and comes from Cognac, France, whereas brandy is made from distilleries from around the world. They are commonly taken as shots, in a glass with or without ice, mixed with Coke, or used to craft champagne cocktails.
So, to review the liquor types, there are vodka, rum, gin, tequila, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, cognac, and then brandy. All right, so next, check out this video that highlights some of the popular and well-known brands.
They're the consummate distributors of delectable spirits. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 iconic global liquor brands.
I must say, damn good stuff, sir.
For this list, we're not counting down the most delicious liquors, but the most respected brands around the world.
Scotch drinker? That's my kind of guy.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Number 10, Absolut.
What can I get you?
Screwdriver, please.
What kind of vodka?
Absolute, please.
Absolutely. Ha ha ha.
Produced in Aarhus, Sweden beginning in 1879, this brand initially distinguished itself with its use of a new distillation process and its creator's clever marketing skills. Absolut took on the Stockholm vodka monopoly by selling from an island outside the city and offering free ferry service to customers. That same competitive spirit inspired the company's global expansion in the late 1970s. Utilizing a uniquely shaped bottle and eye-catching text, Absolut caught the public's fancy.
He based the design on a traditional 18th century pharmacy bottle that he found in an antique shop in the Old Town in Stockholm.
Oh, and Andy Warhol even pitched in during the mid-80s. Grey Goose, another iconic vodka, is also worthy of mention as a premium brand. But the edge goes to Absolut, absolutely.
What is this, ice?
Absolute on ice.
Number 9, Hennessy. This essential nightclub drink brand was created in 1765 by an Irishman living in France and quickly developed a reputation for its smoothness. Owned by Moët Hennessy, which is in turn co-owned by Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, and Diageo, this brand is now known the world over. Long a favorite drink for the elder connoisseurs of fine spirits, Hennessy has earned popularity within the hip-hop community, as the late Tupac Shakur often noted his love for the famous cognac brand. He was hardly alone. More than 40% of the cognac bought worldwide comes from Hennessy.
We're going to need lots of cognac, the best, Hennessy.
Number 8, Tanqueray.
Pick up some gin for me. Tanqueray. I love the color of the bottle.
You love what's in it.
You know the deal. Tonight, we Tanqueray. All sexy and insinuating with its classic green bottle facade, this London dry gin was first introduced in England. The man behind the spirit madness was Mr. Charles Tanqueray, who set up shop in 1838. Surprisingly and fortunately, his distillery managed to survive the Axis bombing of World War II. Let's all be thankful for the lasting legacy of the drink. The fictional marketing guru known as Tony Sinclair.
Ready to Tanqueray?
Endless musical references by artists who love them some sweet old Tanqueray.
Later on that day, my homie Dr. Dre came through with a gang of Tanqueray.
Number 7, Jose Cuervo.
Tequila!
Tequila is my lady. My lady. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Come on in. You're welcome.
Okay, it's time to make things right for the Honorable Don Jose Antonio de Cuervo. This man, who first introduced his brand of tequila in 1795, often receives a bad rap thanks to irresponsible drinkers.
After 9 rounds at Jose Cuervo, they were counting me out, and I was about to give in.
His descendants still manage the Mexican brand, which is now the best-selling tequila in the world. The drink can be enjoyed through a variety of blends, but one thing's for certain, one shot is usually not enough for most. Incidentally, there's plenty of tequila to go around when Don Julio and Patron also make their way to the party.
I gotta have Patron, I gotta have the beat, I gotta have a lot of pretty girls around me.
6. Chivas Regal.
That's 50% more expensive. Fleischmann's is Chivas Regal.
Chivas Brothers began creating whiskeys in Scotland back in 1801, but the company didn't coin the name Chivas Regal until 100 years later. The beauty of Chivas Regal comes from the aging process of blended whiskeys, which resulted in the world's first luxury scotch. It's undoubtedly a favorite among spirit authorities, and it was the drink of choice for the Rat Pack and their leader, Frank Sinatra. Surely a man of good tastes. Whether it's a 12, 18, or 25-year-old product, this brand makes anybody feel like a refined intellectual.
Double Chivas on the rocks.
Double Chivas on the rocks.
Bring him 2 doubles so he can catch up.
2 doubles, all right, I'll be right back.
Number 5. Captain Morgan.
Before you move on to somebody else, you should probably get over your breakup with Captain Morgan.
While the Chivas Regal brand reflects high society, this affordable yet esteemed Puerto Rican rum evokes thoughts of vacations and spring break. Introduced during the World War II era, Captain Morgan sports the iconic pirate on its bottle, with one foot confidently propped atop a barrel. The brand made its way stateside in 1984 with its original spiced rum, and thirsty Americans embraced the memorable marketing campaign.
The Captain Morgan.
Its influence was made abundantly clear when the NFL had to regulate players taking on the Captain Morgan pose during celebrations, part of a sly marketing scheme by its manufacturer.
Begging your pardon, lad, but I've a 100-year itch that can only be scratched by a long, dark drink of Captain and Coal R.
Number 4. Jack Daniels.
Bring us a menu and double Jack Daniels on the rocks.
In the land of the free, this Tennessee brand has the whiskey manufacturing game on lock. But believe it or not, the region where Jack Daniels is manufactured does not allow the sale of alcohol. Still, as the best-selling American whiskey around the world, it can be easily accessed elsewhere. Founder Jack Daniel was born in America, but came from Welsh, Scots-Irish, and Scottish stock. And he was a purveyor of good times back in the 19th century. His reputation was made when his brand was named the finest whiskey at the 1904 World's Fair. Unfortunately, Jack would succumb to blood poisoning a few years later. Fortunately, the 80 proof number 7 lives on. Old Gentleman Jack.
Wouldn't it be nice if there was a cure for anger?
There is. It's called Jack Daniels.
Another one of your jokes, huh?
I wish.
Number 3. Bacardi.
I ordered us a couple of Bacardi mojitos.
Mojito. Eso está muy bien.
Rich in both taste and history, this family-owned brand came to be when a couple of brothers emigrated from Spain to Cuba in 1830. Not only did Bacardi White Rum survive the Cuban War of Independence nearly 60 years later, but it managed to evade Fidel Castro and the 1950s Cuban Revolution by setting up shop in the Bahamas. One of the brand's famous supporters was Ernest Hemingway, who wrote some of his acclaimed novels while thoroughly getting ripped on Bacardi, allegedly. By 1964, the brand expanded by establishing its American headquarters in Miami, Florida. Thank you, Hemingway, and thank you, Bacardi.
The lady'll have a Bacardi on the rocks.
Number 2, Smirnoff.
It was invented with Smirnoff in Los Angeles.
Oh, and then we'll take 2 of those OG LA. Moscow Mules.
When Dostoevsky was writing his classic Russian novels in 1860's St. Petersburg, a Moscow man named Pyotr Arsenievich Smirnoff was toiling away on a brand new drink. No, not purple drank.
That's the ingredient: sugar, water, and of course, purple.
This was what you might call a mind eraser, as too much Smirnoff means the obliteration of your memories. With a lean bottling design and that iconic red labeling, Smirnoff remains in wide demand thanks to its Russian authenticity. Today, one can find numerous malt beverages stemming from the brand, but there's nothing quite like the original red label drink.
What's this one's claim to fame?
It's just really good vodka.
Before we pour a glass of our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Our prized liquid is given its green glass jacket and sent out to be shared with the world. Beefeater, London Dry Gin presents the Beefeater Gin and Tonic Experience.
We're content to spend our time handcrafting a whiskey that's always full-flavored, yet remarkably easy to drink.
Number 1, Johnny Walker.
Officer, I saw the driver hit me. His name was Johnny Walker.
Surely there's plenty of Johnny Walkers roaming the world, but they will always be overshadowed by this Scotch whiskey brand. The crazy thing about the original innovator, Johnny Walker himself, was that he didn't actually drink. He simply made the best damn Scotch ever.
He moves to town. He opens a shop and he blends whiskies.
In the early days, it was sold in a grocery store, and it's now become the preeminent spirit for anyone with a general knowledge of good liquor.
But you didn't ask me for no dry ice. You asked me for 2 cases of Johnny Walker Black Label and 4 Ladies of the Pole. And I got them for you, didn't I?
The Johnny Walker brand has been relatively conservative with new blends. However, you can't go wrong with a red, a black, or even that Johnny Walker swing.
So now that you know some of our popular brands, let me explain the different levels of liquor quality and price points that we offer our guests. These are called pricing tiers. There's Well, Call, Premium, and a select group of Super Premium. The first tier is a Well. Well brands are also known as house. They are generally less expensive and are not necessarily brand names recognized by our guest, but they are a good value and go well with mixed drinks. The next level is Call. Call drinks got their name from guests requesting a drink with a specific brand of liquor. Essentially, they're calling out the brand that they want. So for example, instead of a guest just ordering a rum and coke, they would order a Bacardi and Coke. Calls are generally popular or well-known brands and are acceptable in both quality, taste, and price. Of course, just because a guest calls a specific brand, it may or may not be in that call price category. Either way, the guest knows what they want and they're willing to pay for it. The next tier up is Premium. These are very well-known brands that carry a sort of notoriety or status and are known for their perceived quality, and yet they're more expensive. Premium beverages are generally displayed on the back bar shelving so they can be seen by our guests. Premiums are also sometimes referred to as top shelf, both from their placement on the shelves and from their price relative to other liquors available. The highest tier is Super Premium, which mostly consists of high-end scotches and whiskeys. You be the judge. As you get more familiar with the liquors and what's popular in your area, you can make great recommendations. No matter the pricing, we are here to provide our guests with a beverage they are comfortable with the taste, quality, and price. Okay, moving on. Let's talk serving and ordering lingo. This short video will help explain.
Customers want their liquor served in a variety of ways. Sometimes they want it in a certain glass, with or without ice, chilled or at room temperature, or with a chaser on the side. And when they make these requests, they may use specific serving terms that you need to know as a bartender. The first term I'll be going over is back. A back is another word for chaser, and if you don't know what a chaser is, it's a drink, typically juice or soda, taken after a strong alcoholic one. People typically drink these backs or chasers to reduce the harsh taste after consuming a straight liquor shot. For example, a customer might ask, "Let me get a shot of rum with the pineapple back." In that case, you would serve the rum with a splash of pineapple juice in a cup on the side. Other backs include Coke back, orange back, which is orange juice, and pickle back, which is pickle juice. Overall, any juice or soda can be used as a back, and usually at no extra charge. Next, I'll explain what neat means. If a customer asks, "Let me get a Maker's Mark neat," you would put 2 ounces of alcohol, in this case Maker's Mark, into a glass and serve it. That's it. Don't add ice or straw or any juice or soda. Nothing. Just 2 ounces of alcohol at room temperature, straight from the bottle into a glass, and serve. Ideally, use a rocks glass, but if none are available, then a lowball glass would be appropriate. The following term is on the rocks. It means the exact same thing as neat, but with one difference. You add ice. Simple enough, right? Okay, moving on. The next term is chilled. Let's say a customer asks, let me get a chilled Patron shot. In that case, you would take your shaker tin, add a scoop of ice, then add a 1.5 ounce pour of Patron. From there, connect a mixing glass to the shaker tin, shake it up a few times to make the alcohol cold, then strain the alcohol into a shot glass or a lowball glass. And that's what chilled means. Alright, moving on. The final term is straight up, or up. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to this term. The actual meaning of it is to chill alcohol and strain it into a martini glass. Now, here's where the confusion comes in. Some customers don't know that straight up is a serving term, so they'll walk up to the bar and say something like, let me get some straight up vodka. And what they'll mean by that is they just want alcohol in a cup, nothing more, just straight alcohol. In fact, I've had more customers ask me for a drink straight up and meant it this way than what the term actually means. So what I do in order to save myself some time and confusion is, when people ask me for a drink straight up, I ask them, do you want ice with that? Most of the time they say yes, so I put ice in a cup, add the alcohol, and serve it. And that's how I handle that. On the other hand, if someone asks for something up, for example, let me get a vodka up, it's more likely that that person knows what he or she is talking about, because why would someone randomly ask you for something up? You know what I mean? So if that's the case, then put 2.5 ounces of alcohol, in this case vodka, into a shaker tin with ice, shake it up, strain it into a martini glass, garnish it with either an olive or lemon twist, and serve.
Okay, that was a quick video, so let's just go over and review the standard liquor pours one more time for different kinds of drinks. The standard pour is 1.25 ounces of alcohol for single liquor mixed drinks, coffee drinks, juice drinks, highballs, sours, and Collins. If a guest wants it strong or orders a double, they can get a 2-ounce pour for a small charge. A shot of straight liquor, like a simple tequila, vodka, or rum shot, has 1.25 ounces of alcohol. Shots are served in that typical shot glass, you know the one. A drink served neat is a 2-ounce single liquor served at room temperature with no ice. A rocks drink is a 2-ounce pour served over ice with no mixer. Neat and rocks drinks are usually served in rocks glasses or in a snifter glass when serving cognacs or brandy. Up and straight up are served chilled in a martini glass with 2.25 ounces of liquor. Again, to clear up any confusion, if the guest orders anything up or straight up that's not specifically a martini, always clarify how they would like it served, either chilled or at room temperature. This will save you some trouble. These are just a few terms, and it will take a little time to get comfortable with them. So be proactive and ask your bartenders and trainers for any clarifications. Before we wrap up on liquor, I did want to mention that each of our restaurants have some specialty cocktails. We like to call them crafted libations. These cocktails are unique to our brands and are made with interesting, trending, and flavorful ingredients. And they can also vary by season. Your trainer will review these cocktails with you. Be sure to know them well. They're a hit with our guests and are top sellers. There was a lot of information on liquor, and I know you're going to have a lot of questions about the types of liquor and pricing tiers, and your trainer is going to be right there with you to answer all your questions. You'll also be provided a liquor cheat sheet to use on your shifts. This will help you answer guest questions. One great technique is to ask guests their preference. For example, if they order a vodka tonic, simply ask them if they have a preference on their vodka and make a suggestion, like Tito's. It's the best practice to know a couple of brands from each category to suggest to the guest. As a rule, suggesting something call or premium is certainly preferred. So this concludes the Liquor Knowledge module. I challenge you to get out there and learn all you can about liquors. The more knowledgeable you are, the more money you can make. Cheers!